Welcome to the Voice of Grace Lightlooper and Cycle Witch podcast. I am Grace Lightlooper, a multidimensional vocal channel, singer, and soul activation coach. Through my work, I guide souls to unlock the power of their voice, connect with their soul's frequency, and reactivate their ancient magic. I run transformational online and in-person containers and online voice activation courses. All my offerings can be found on my website. Now, this magical episode, as ever, is co-hosted with my soul sister Beth. She is an artist, a mystic, and a healer, and she goes by the name of Cycle Witch. This week is all about ceremony. We go into quantum shifts and what ceremonies actually look like to us. So join us for another exciting episode. Was this like that game you were playing?
Beep. So that was like, follow me. It was things like, whoa, wow, beep, beep. And we just did that for ages.
Oh, that's right up my street. Welcome, everybody. 30 seconds of us making some sound. Well, this is the place where the magical sounds happen normally. So,
well, yes.
Very welcome here.
In Grace's cave.
I call it, actually, Connor named it this, my USS, which is my understairs studio.
Oh, I love that.
So, here we are.
Here we are in the USS.
Oh, it sounds a little bit like we're going to say USSA, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
USS, yeah.
R.
Not A. United States of America. Anyway, so here we are.
Here we are.
In my modest little studio.
And this is episode...
For us, it's episode 3.
Yes.
Let's just keep it at that. And then, yeah.
So we left off saying that we wanted to explain to people what our...
What you saying? 2 people explain. That's charades.
Yeah.
2 people explaining 2 people.
What our process is around release and healing and how we facilitate that for each other. So, oh gosh, where to begin? I mean,
I feel like I want to begin. Let's start. Oh my God, I hate being sarcastic and I just did it. I want to begin by what instantly pops to my mind is how maybe in the last, 6 months, we've become like really close, especially with our healing.
Yeah.
And like exploring kind of like how that's like manifested and how that's grown and how we interact like almost on a daily basis with each other now. And like how we move through things when we're not together and then how we move through things like in ceremony.
I think this is a practice which is on a very minor level experienced by everybody in air quotes normal life. You have a friend, you tell your friend your problems, they listen to you, you feel better. Right?
Problem shared is a problem halved, as they say.
We can all relate to that process.
Yes, hopefully we can all relate to that process.
I really hope everyone can relate to that process.
Yeah.
I think we have honed that down to a very powerful experience for each other. I actually think that we have managed to hone it past the point of needing specific triggers. Like we've got so good at it.
Yeah.
Like it's instantaneous now. And I feel like like I said, sometimes when I tell people about it and they're like, somebody will be like telling me something and they're crying and I'm like, And they're like, I'm sorry. Oh God, I'm crying. I'm sorry. And I'm like, no, let it out.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, but it's embarrassing. I'm like, for who? Cry. This is
how like black and white you are. For who?
Like, and then I like start explaining to them, you know, like, this is you literally releasing trapped emotions, trapped energies that are not serving you. Let them go. I'm here. All you need is somebody to listen to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's once they get their head around it, it becomes really good.
I feel, do you know what? I feel like that's either like a drip fed thing that you build up in yourself, like, oh, I'm actually allowed to cry. Or it's like you experience it in one big ceremonial setting, and then it like unlocks and activates that permission to be able to then do it, like as we now do it, which is like on tap, just.
Yeah. Do you think we were doing it before the Essex weekend?
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
That was a pivotal point for us.
Yeah.
That weekend.
But also another situation that springs to mind is the evening when you were here with another dear sister of ours, when I was going through the deep grief, and without any plant medicine, without any assistance, it was just us three. And I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I've just been through like the deepest wave of grief this December. It's just, I didn't know, this is another layer of capacity that I didn't know that I had to hold within myself, but there it is. And I remember just the act of sharing it with you two. And as I started to share it, I started to feel my heart crack open and the emotion. And then you both come over to me and held me. And I remember my body literally like convulsing with this, like this grief that was moving through it. And I remember at that time thinking, this is like a pivotal point in my journey, in our journey together, in my relationship with energy and emotions, and just the accessibility of it when you're in that space and you're held. Because obviously we opened the space, didn't we? And we opened the sacred space, which has already set the space up for being safe and open. And that was a really, really pivotal point for me in all of those things I just listed, with the ease, even though it was really painful, because I was so present with the emotion that was being released. Or I like to say re-loved, because it's like, are we really releasing it, or are we just re-loving a piece of us that we haven't had access to yet? So
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, I really love that.
I've been using that for the last few months of like, just try not to cling too much to the word release, because it's like we really re-loving the pieces of us that we haven't had access to yet. And you know, that grief that I have recently been through, it's not like, yeah, there was an outside catalyst in my life, something happened to trigger that grief, but that grief was already there. And it's like, wow, just think about what that could have manifested into had I not have had that dear but painful catalyst to be able to feel, to really crack my heart fully open, to be held by you and our sister, to really, to just like turn on that tap and just
I think
into that. Yeah,
I think a big part for me was realizing that in myself, I don't need to intellectualize whatever it is I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I think before all of this stuff, I had this feeling that I needed to understand it, to find a solution, to work towards, and all of these kind of very mindy things. And it's through this work with you that I have really reached a point where I'm like, feelings are going to come up. Sometimes I'm going to know where they come from. Sometimes I'm not going to know where they come from. and sometimes they just need to be felt.
Yeah.
And that's all they need.
Yeah.
That's all they want.
Mm.
They just want to be felt and acknowledged.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a major turning point for me. I think that had a major effect in how I hold space as well. In that kind of like, you know, this is just something that needs to be felt and expressed. And that's it. There's no danger in that. You know, what's going to happen? You're going to cry yourself into a river of tears and you're going to float away out to sea.
Oh, Alice in Wonderland.
Are you going to, you know, feel so much pain that you're going to die? No. You're going to feel the pain and it's going to hurt, but it's also going to not hurt.
Afterwards,
at some point.
you're going to find, this is the thing, like when you finally are able to go there and feel to those depths, what's underneath that is your wisdom. And what I've now discovered is like underneath that, when you relove those parts, is the activation. That's when there's potential for the dormant DNA to wake up and for our gifts to come online. This is what happened with my light language journey. It was because all my intention was to just heal trauma, because that's all I knew. And it was within that just one journey of healing was just like energy straight up to the crown open, light language, light codes are flooding through my system. And the message was, you know, you've made enough space in your body now for these activations to come online. And it just absolutely turned my life around. So this is the profound effect that feeling our emotions has. But obviously sometimes it's easier said than done, because the other day, this keeps popping into my mind, the other day, I can't even remember what happened or what it was. It was just me feeling really dense all day, really struggling, could not bring myself to just feel what needed to be felt. It just was too painful. It was too difficult to access. I was doing all the right things, but I couldn't access it. And I knew you were busy, but I just, in that moment, it was like, just message Beth and just see if she's free. And honestly, this was so funny because you answered the phone and you just said, whatever you said, you right, mate, or whatever you said. And like, you just said that and I just cried for, but what, like 5 seconds? And I'm like, oh yeah, better now. Like I've been holding on to that all day, all friggin' day, but just that safe space to be held by someone else, you know, in that moment. That's all we need when we know that we have the capabilities to feel, but sometimes things are so deeply rooted we can't quite get there by ourselves. This is why we obviously have each other. This is why we have space holders. But that's basically like the level we're at now, where it's like, are you free? Just answer the phone, go. And then it's just like access that emotion, have that other person hold space, and then it's so efficient.
Yeah, so unbelievably efficient. And what blows me away is twofold. It's the access to emotion when we've come up against something and we can't get it out, and then just that connection, meaning we can just and it's better. But the twofold element is how, with great regularity, the moment we do that with each other, solutions present themselves
the
in
clarity.
our lives.
And
it's not just clarity within ourselves.
The quantum shifts.
This is what it's the, you know, oh, I'm having trouble with this person, I need to express that, call each other, oh, they just sent me a message,
they just apologized.
Like, it's, for me, that blows my mind. And it's not something I would have ever believed in before. And it's not something I'm like, well, I want this from this person, so I'm going to call Grace.
Yeah.
It's when I feel like there is truly something I need to be heard. I need to be held. I need to express this thing that is trapped in me. I'm not asking for anything. I've never consciously asked for anything. It's just been a really freaking awesome surprise afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's like, it happens more. And now we're at a point where it's so efficient. And from where we started, you know, we still hold ceremonies. We still make space for those practices and those really, really deep things. But, you know, when we think about where we started, where it'd be like, are you free this day? Are you free this day? Are you free this day? Have we got the kids? Have we got time without the kids? Can we make time without the kids? And then like opening a space, making sure we've cleansed things, going into a plant medicine process. From that to, hey, are you free?
Yeah.
Is mind-blowing.
It is, because we've created that.
Yes.
Like with the journey that we've been on and the healing that we've done, we've like created that space for ourselves.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just want to mention a little bit about what you said, because I would have forgotten to go into that actually, like what I regard as quantum shifts, because it's on that quantum level that things are shifting, because so often, and it's become like really quite frequent recently, but with us both, with other people, like we'll experience it's like a tricky situation or a conflict with someone, or even just like a real deep trigger with someone, or a situation, and then a natural reaction now is to contact each other and just, you know, cry down the phone essentially. And then it's like instantly, whilst we're on the phone to each other, we're like, oh my gosh, they just texted me and told me that this whole thing's been rearranged and that problem's not there anymore, and that's been shifted and like all of these things have changed, or they've apologized for something they've projected, or whatever the fucking thing was, you name it, it's shifted. And my take on that is because we're literally, again, we're attracting every single thing that we are vibrating at the frequency of. So if there's part of us that believes that, let's just use an example, that someone is projecting this shit onto us, that they're, you know, low-key sending some kind of abuse or attack to us, if we've got that resonating in our frequency somewhere, then that comes to the surface, that resonates, that's like, oh, I need to believe that I still need to be attacked somewhere. So this person comes along, they hurl the abuse at us, and then we're like, oh, I feel so triggered, and then it obviously brings it right to the surface. We then naturally now, thankfully, are able to like process that really quickly. And then because we have shifted our frequency, because we have re-loved that part of us, that part is no longer vibrating at a dense frequency. It's vibrating at a higher frequency. So the byproduct of that is that things have to mirror that on our external reality, and I say on a quantum level, because we don't need to be physically with that person. They could be like anywhere on the planet and they pick up on that frequency. And that's where I'm like, we're shifting realities. We're constantly shifting realities when we're healing, and but without wanting or needing anything to change. This is the beauty, and this is like the I don't know, the magic point of like not trying to quantum shift, not trying to move, not trying to be anything other than who we are, but in every moment honoring and feeling and being really fucking radically honest. Has this triggered me? I think that's where it is. It's like, has this triggered me? Because I've had people, and this triggers me. This is an ironic little situation for you. This triggers me when I've had people comment on my videos and stuff, basically saying, have you just tried not giving a shit? And it's like, well, that's triggering. That's triggering because that's essentially just bypassing everything I've just shared with you about feeling a trigger. Everything. And you're suggesting that I shut down that golden nugget of wisdom that is about to be birthed through me through this expression of my emotion. So yeah, I have a lot to say about that. I'm very passionate about it. I'm very passionate because it's like the transformation that we've gone through lately has just been radical. Like,
Yeah,
radical.
absolutely radical. I think we should have a quick explanation about our ceremonies.
Yeah.
And like how we do that,
How we move
essentially, because this, unless somebody is part of that specific community, they won't have a clue.
Yeah.
And I think it's really good to tell people about that.
Share these.
So we usually start by sharing, and that usually starts in the car.
Oh yeah, I was going to say we start by opening the space, but then we don't do that in the car.
No,
this is the thing, because we're weaving in friendship and ceremony. There's a lot of like crossovers.
Yes,
with obviously that being in the car and sharing and
I think I like to imagine that as our pre-share. Yeah,
like pre-drinks, pre-share.
Yeah, it's a little pre-share. It's a little. These are the things.
Preview.
Yeah,
preview.
These are the things which are going on for me.
Yeah,
and like, oh, and this happened, and this happened. And then we open the space, we cleanse, we open the space. We usually call in our guides, any deities or spiritual leaders, allies, ancestors that we want to call in to be with us in that space and to help guide us and give us knowledge and hold the space and protect us.
Yeah.
And then we usually do a deep share. And that's the point where we really we go really deep. And that, I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
I've noticed that when I've made a conscious decision, and I know you know exactly what time this is because it was also one of your deepest, was when I made the decision to just completely own and share something which I was walking around with, which was so painful, and really, really just owned every feeling in that level of depth opened up that level of depth for you. And I feel like that then becomes the precursor for how deep we can go in the ceremony as well. You know, there's been times where we've had ceremonies where it's been like, oh, you know, things have been pretty good this week.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, that's rare. Not good or bad, just like I've had these struggles.
Surface level,
but yeah, there has been situations where it's been quite surface level stuff, and it's just never felt as deep from that point, you know. And there's times when that is completely appropriate and absolutely fine and welcome, because we don't need to go really deep all the time.
I need to remind myself that a lot.
And where was I at with that? Yeah.
The depth that you went to kind of opened up the depth for me.
Yeah.
You were saying.
Yeah. And same with you. Like sometimes I'll be like, I don't even know what I need to attack. I need to address in this ceremony space, and then like you'll share, and it'll be like, it's like a little crack gets opened in me, and I start exploring it, and I'm like, oh wait, yes. And it's nothing to do with your stuff.
Yeah,
it's my stuff. It's just, it's allowed me space to go investigating.
Yeah.
So
just to touch on that when you did share that big thing, that I feel like so much of your transformation has happened since that night.
Oh, absolutely.
Same with me, because that was the same night that I went through the grief that I mentioned previously in this podcast. So that was a big night. That was a very, very big night. And so, this is the power of what happens when we know this anyway, but just to like remind ourselves, you know, the power of what can transform when we literally share the depths of our vulnerability in a safe space with a safe person. That's really important. So we don't want to give our power away to someone who won't be able to hold that energy.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a big night. That was a very big night.
That was a very, very big night.
And it definitely, wow! I feel like that was my my slingshot being pulled back that night, and it's been like
I like that
pew, ever since. So yeah, I suppose what I want to say to everybody is ownership, own your stuff, speak it in a safe space, really, really explore it.
I was going to say, like, use your voice. And I did a video on this on my Instagram the other day with how I've had people get confused before with this kind of concept of sharing our pain. And they've thought that, yeah, but that means if I speak that, then I'm speaking that into my reality and I'm going to manifest that. And my response is always no, because it's already within you. That's the manifestation. So by speaking it, you're actually allowing that energy to be heard, and that resonance just by speaking it. And I guide people through this on my voice activation course, actually more do with sounding out the blocks, but just at a basic like entry level to just vocalize how you're feeling. It just, that energy just feels validated instantly, obviously in a safe space. And it's so powerful to use the voice to like, I mean, I've done experiments with myself where I've like whispered the thing, or I've like just thought it. And for me personally, everyone's different. Like my partner would maybe not agree because he's into like hardcore silent meditation and that works for him and he's fucking pro at it. But for me, it's all about the sound vibration, the vocal cords, having that vibration, like resonating physically with that energy to feel validated and to shift. And we've done it before where we've rang each other, we've not cried, we've not had a big emotion, but we've said the thing. We've said the word, excuse me, cat. We've said the words and it's instantly transformed something. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Use your voice, validate yourself.
Yeah. I find it really interesting that people have said like, oh, if I speak it, I'm manifesting it. For me, that's not even something that I would consider, because it's, if you're, I don't know. Oh, I don't know if I've got the language around this, but yeah, it's like you said, it's something that's already within you. Yeah. You're just acknowledging it. I feel like if you were going to manifest that low frequency emotion, then you'd be speaking about it in a way where you're talking about it objectively, not expressing the feeling.
Yes.
But being like, I'm always so sad. Yeah, right. I won't do this thing because I won't be happy enough to take part. That's manifesting those feelings. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's good that you clarified that as well, isn't it? Because it's about expressing it from the most authentic place of like, yeah, I am currently experiencing this. And something I heard years ago was communicating, like if we're communicating about anxiety or depression, you know, vocalizing it in a way that's, I'm feeling the anxiety, I'm feeling the depression, not my depression or my anxiety, because anxiety exists within all of us. It's here, it's a frequency, we all experience it. So like, oh, here's the anxiety, oh, here's the depression, and like really reframing that to become the observer of it, not the thing,
embodiment of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's been such a game changer for me. Okay.
How are we doing for time?
28 minutes, y'all.
Shall we very quickly finish talking about how we do our ceremonies?
Okay.
I feel like we got to sharing.
Oh, okay. You're going to mention Happy?
Yeah, I think so. Right. So we would usually do our sharing. Then we would feel into whether we want to connect with Happy as a plant medicine to help us to process some of those things and gain clarity, guidance, connection, and like an opportunity to relove, release anything that needs to happen.
Yeah.
So we won't go into major detail about Hape, like how it's served. We serve it to each other. We hold space for each other one at a time.
Yeah.
We did once try doing it at the same time. That didn't work.
It was great, wasn't it? Because that's just like, that really just shows you how like you just can't hold space for each other at the same time. Like in life, not just with plant medicine, but just in life, you can't just both share something at the same time and both go to that depth, because you're both like loggerheads with each other. So yeah, it's kind of a nice experience, but showed us like, oh, right, okay, there's a lot of depth in one of you being the space holder and one of you not.
Very much so. And usually that would mean between, I would say, maybe like 10 to 25 minutes of time where one of us is connecting and experiencing and reloving, releasing, while the other one is just holding space. And that can look really different between the two of us. We both do that in our own ways. You end up often with a lot of voice activations and healing messages, and I just love all of it.
No, when you say, I'm like, oh, I fucking love holding space. Oh.
Grace is an absolute pro at this. I will go into, I think, another episode where you just
talk about how amazing. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
I was going to joke, but that's what you actually said.
Yeah, no, actually, I think people should. Actually, I think people should hear what it is to experience a session where you are the space holder, and what that means.
That would be good, actually. Yeah, that would be great. It'd be great for me as well, because I get to hear it from your point of view as well.
Yeah,
because I'm always, ever expanding, ever evolving, and I would say I'm ever a student of the heart. So to hear any feedback is always great for me. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll go into that in another episode.
Yeah, sure.
It looks very different when I do it. I'm not massively activated with voice. I don't have light language.
Yet.
That's like the second time I said that today. But I am physical. I'm hands-on. I'm starting to channel some songs.
Done some epic voice activation sessions with Beth, and yes, she's starting to channel songs, which is just it lights me up so much. Anyway, carry
on. So yeah, my processes of supporting and helping you to shift things are very, very different.
Yes.
And I'm really enjoying discovering that in myself.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be able to learn those things if you weren't able to be so beautifully vulnerable with me. Because, I mean, you'd have to seek out very specific experiences to be like, wait, actually, I can shift this energy. I can channel this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, we go through our processes, we hold space, and then at some point we kind of feel like we're done.
Yeah.
At which point we close the space. We send up a lot of gratitude to say thank you for all of our guides for being there. And then we usually have a cup of tea, sing a song.
Yeah, sing a song. Yeah.
Usually give you a little foot massage.
Oh, you do.
Bring you back.
You're such a good, you're the masseuse. You're the masseuse. You've got such amazing touch. I love that.
I love that you can do things like make a little megaphone into my lower back and speak light language into me.
Yes, and
I can literally feel it.
Oh.
But anyway, so I think that's a really good explanation of how a ceremony works between us.
Yes.
And I think that's a good place to end this episode because
it
it's
is
long.
Yes, and this is the third one in a row. So I just looked at that. It was 33, 44. Honestly, the synchronistic numbers at the moment are just like... Okay. Yeah. All right. on that note, thank you for watching. I'm already excited for the next one, which won't be tonight. Now we're gonna have dinner now.
Yeah, dinner time.
Thank you for listening and or watching, and we love you. And send us some messages.
Bye.